Well, welcome back. I'm Keith Reynolds, host of Morning Coffee. For you listeners and followers out there, that was a great interview we just had, excuse me, with Jeremy Roenick about youth hockey and everything. I think that was a great story. And you know what? I want to move on now to obviously, for people that follow us, they know my passion is animals, especially dogs. Sorry, cat lovers. That's when Charlene comes back next week. We'll start with the cat lovers. You know, she's a cat lover. So, but today I have Alan Braslow. He's animal activist. Is that right?
Yes. That sounds fair.
Sounds fair. And I have Amy Jesse from the Humane Society on. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I happened to be out grabbing lunch, and I came across this. I guess it's I wouldn't say it's a retailer, but it's
a retailer, but it's really an adoption center for
adoption center
dogs
for rescue dogs. It blew my mind. Because I was getting ready to rule out the parking lot. I said, you know what? Let me find out what this was. So that's how we got you guys to come on to talk a little bit about it and talk about some of the things that are going on out there. I know with what we can start with Amy. I mean, as far as the Humane Society. Now, there's a bill that was passed or being passed.
Right, so there's been a bill that's introduced in the New Jersey Senate that is a groundbreaking puppy mill sales bill. It's the first of its kind. New Jersey will be the first legislature to consider such a bill, and it really goes after puppy mill sales every way that they sell. So we've seen bills that address pet shops, which we know are an outlet for puppy mills. But internet sales are a really, really crucial part of how puppy mills thrive. And so this bill, for the first time, would prohibit puppy mills from selling over the internet to New Jersey residents. And it's not just a animal welfare bill or a puppy mill bill, it also has a huge consumer protection angle. So Senator Lesniak has introduced this bill in the Senate, and really it's very exciting for us at the Humane Society of the U.S. because it's the first time we've seen a lawmaker really go after this issue in such a strong way.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, for our listeners and viewers out there, you're saying puppy mill terminology. What do you mean by puppy mill?
So there's not really a legal definition of a puppy mill, but welfare groups and the pet industry got together a few years ago and we decided on a definition. And it's basically an inhumane commercial dog breeding facility where the well-being of the animals is disregarded in order to maximize profits. Okay. So unlike a responsible breeder, most of whom don't even really make a profit and who care deeply for their animals and raise them in their homes, these are facilities. These are basically farms for animals. They spend their entire lives in small wire cages, and they just churn out as many puppies as they can.
Wow. Yeah, I've seen that, and that is bad. To be doing, doing it that way.
Right.
Now, so, the pet store. Right, what do I call a pet store? The adoption center. Tell us a little bit about the adoption center.
Well, what happened was, I'll give you a little bit of the history of it real quick.
Sure.
Back in June, I live in Cherry Hill. A puppy store opened up in Cherry Hill on Route 70. We found out that they were sourcing their dogs from puppy mills. We did the investigation and the research. And with a group of residents, probably anywhere from 20 to 100 at any time, we started protesting in front of the store. We were introduced to Jeff Nash, Camden County freeholder. Okay. And Jeff was kind enough to, because he felt the same way we did about you don't want dogs sold that come from puppy mills. He put together a resolution for Camden County and a sister ordinance that we passed by municipalities which would ban the sale of puppy mill dogs and cats by pet stores. The young man who owns this store, he owns another store in Waretown, he laughs now. We've become very good friends, he and his father and I and whatever, that we kind of wore him down, and we had a long conversation, and he said, his question to us was, I still need to earn a living. If I go rescue dogs only, will you help and will this work? And we made the commitment to help him by finding sources for the dogs and whatever. We then reached out to all of the local rescues. Most of them are dealing with adult dogs, not puppies. They couldn't help them. We reached out to contacts we had in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, there's about 100,000 stray dogs at any time, and only 3% get adopted down there, and they're all kill shelters. We reached out to contacts we had in Tennessee, South Carolina, and Georgia, and the shame of it is that there are many, many kill shelters, owners who do not think about spay-neuter, and so the puppy population just increases dramatically. And so the choice was, if he can bring dogs in from other areas that are adoptable puppies that people want, because they still want different types of puppies, we would help him, and that's what we've done. He changed his model after putting up with us for 3 months. In end of September, beginning of October. By the end of October, we were bringing puppies in, all bedded, all under vet care. We have one of the local vets, House Paws Mobile Vet. They come whenever a litter comes up and check everything out. We can call them anytime we want if there's an issue, because the dogs have to be taken care of. These are little babies. And it's doing the right thing. About 200 to 300 puppies have been adopted since the conversion, which was the end of October. The fellow who owns the operation changed his second store to an adoption-only store. He laughs and says it's the best thing he ever did, ethically, morally, and he said, people like me now, which is really great. And as you saw in the store, it's immaculate. I mean, it's totally incredible. And the idea is that he's doing the right thing for the right reasons, and every dog that gets adopted there would have a better than even chance that they would be dead if they were not coming here to be adopted out.
You know what struck me when I was there? I got to tell you, you know what? We're going to take a quick commercial break, and I'll tell you what really intrigued me when I went into the store, and what I saw, what got me going. We're going to be right back after this commercial break.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Choosing the right fence for your home or business is an important decision to make. Choose a Nello fence for peace of mind. Our family has manufactured and installed beautiful maintenance-free fence for over 50 years. We provide vinyl, aluminum, and wood fence in a wide variety of styles and colors, including chain link fence for commercial and residential. Call or visit our indoor showroom and ask for Steve Anello and see how 4 generations of combined experience mean that you'll get quality and service that can't be matched by any other fencing company, period. Call Anello Fence today for a free estimate.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly. Well, welcome back. I'm Keith Reynolds, host of Morning Coffee, and as you can see, we have some more guests have added to the studio. But right before break, I'll introduce my guests again. We have Amy Jesse from the Humane Society, and Alan Braslow, a animal activist. Okay. And we were talking about a adoption center that we have right here in our local area in Cherry Hill. And right before the break, I was talking about what intrigued me the most when I walked in there. And I got to be honest, when you go into pet stores and stuff like that, the animals don't seem very happy. They're just kind of sitting there, sluggish. I walked into there, and all the puppies were bouncing around, happy, just like that crazy one over there, who's just full of energy and happy. I mean, that's really what makes the difference. So, continuing with our discussion, I really wanted to talk, we're talking different lingo. We talked about puppy mills. What were puppy mills?
Mm-hmm.
For those listeners out there, we're going to put some pictures up on the screen, and we want to talk about kill shelters. To give you an idea, what is a kill shelter? Explain for the listeners.
You want to?
And either one of you can.
Okay. The sad thing about a kill shelter is that the dogs and cats go in and they don't come out. There's such an abundance of dogs and cats that need to be rescued that the shelters are overwhelmed and they cannot handle the volume that comes in. So, for instance, one of the rescues I work with here, we get a notice every day of dogs that are coming out of Philly from one of the better rescues that if they are not pulled, they will be euthanized, i.e. killed. And the problem is that different shelters that kill do it in different ways, which is sad. It's not always humane. There are still shelters in the South where we rescue these guys from that they just throw them all in a big room and they gas them.
I've seen that. That's horrible.
It's absolutely horrible.
And I think that some of those pictures you're gonna see that. It's really, really a terrible thing that's going on. So those are kill shelters for you folks that really don't know. And I think that a lot of people just look the other way. But this is something that you have to really take a look at and see what's being done to these animals. And I got to be honest with you, I'm a dog lover. I have dogs. And just across the board, people that want to, or people when they talk about their pets, it's like talking about their children.
Oh,
Yeah.
that.
You know what I mean? So if you really look at this, like I said, some of the pictures are kind of graphic, but I want you to understand what a kill shelter is. So we're going to talk about the good stuff that's coming out of
And
it.
just quickly, to be fair, it's not every kill shelter. It's not always their fault. There are places in this
Absolutely.
country where there is the overpopulation issue is just, it's overwhelming, and maybe it's a little hard for people to understand in New Jersey, which has a wonderful animal welfare community and rescue community and has really great shelters, but in areas in the Midwest and in the South, the shelters have almost no funding. There's maybe one for, enormous stretches of land, and so they're completely overwhelmed, and they don't really have a better option. And so it's not the shelter that's the problem. The problem is so much bigger. And it's great to see these channels coming from a place like Georgia or Tennessee coming up to New Jersey where you have a much bigger demand for puppies or for dogs coming from places where, like Alan said, they're euthanizing just enormous amounts of animals.
Now, and you had said during the break, you were telling me about a number. Tell the audience out there, the roundabout number.
Yeah, the scary thing is, imagine if every January 1st we eliminated the entire population of Los Angeles, 3 or 4 million people. Gone. That's what happens number-wise every year in this country on euthanized dogs. That's scary.
That's a scary.
And they're little guys like this who they deserve better.
Right.
And the root of the puppy mill problem really is when you hear statistics like that, it just doesn't make sense that we have these breeding facilities that are turning out millions of puppies when there are so many puppies that need homes. It doesn't make sense, and that's why you've seen this movement across the country and especially in New Jersey to stop puppy mills from doing that.
Well, can't they? And do puppy mills, do they target one breed? Are these breeders that are kind of like on steroids?
Right. So they're commercial breeders. Many of them. So we estimate there are 10,000 puppy mills in this country. Only about 2,000 are federally regulated. Now, that doesn't mean those are good ones. Federal regulations are extremely low. So you can have a USD license and be a puppy mill. But they're commercial breeders, which means the focus is on profit, not on the well-being of the animals. And yeah, I mean, that's really all that they're concerned about. And so there are puppy mills of all different sizes. Some have hundreds, some have thousands of dogs. And so they're just huge, large scale. I mean, picture a farm. Picture
Right.
a factory farm. It's that, but instead of raising animals for meat, they're raising them to produce as many puppies as possible because there's a lot of money in it.
Now,
And
is there
so-
any regulation on the amount of puppies they can have?
No.
Really? There's not?
No.
I've been to them, I've seen them, and they don't like people like me. The problem is that what they are doing is they are breeding. You take a breeding female, it will be bred every time it goes into heat. It gets no rest. Typically, it's in a cage the size. Let's say take a beagle and put a beagle in a cage the size of a dishwasher. It gets no grooming. It gets no veterinary care. It is just used as a producer of puppies. So then what happens is these puppies who are inbred, might not be healthy, they get sent to stores. They get cleaned up. They look real pretty. You know, it's like putting lipstick on a pig. And they get sold to individuals. And the horror stories you hear about the medical expenses, the behavioral issues that you have because of these problems are absolutely phenomenal. And it's a battle because I call them the breeders of greed. They don't want to give up the cash cow. They sell these dogs for thousands of dollars.
Absolutely.
And tell people they're this and that and the other thing, and they get very upset when you start to do the disclosure of what really is there and what are the problems and what are the breeding.
Right. It's a very deceptive sales model, and it goes for the internet sales and for pet store sales. They claim that the breeders are highly regulated because they mainly buy from USDA licensed breeders, and that's not the case. Sometimes they'll say that they're local. So the largest internet broker of puppies has over 800 web domains to convince people that they're local, to convince people that they're in your state, and they're not. And then they convince you later in the conversation that instead of coming and picking up the puppy, just how about you go to the airport instead of going to your local breeder.
I've seen that. I don't know how people do that.
I know. But the sales people, they're trained to deceive. They're trained to make you believe that you're doing everything right. They even send you pictures, which turn out to not even be the puppy you're going to end up with. Their website is dogs running in an open field. So they do everything to make consumers believe that you're supporting a really great breeder, and that there's just some little reason why you have to pick up the puppy at the airport, or why the puppy's going to be dropped off in a van at your house instead of going to see the facility. And we know that puppy mills thrive if they stay away from the public, if they stay hidden. They can't survive it. They don't ever invite the public to their facility. That's why they love internet sales, and that's why they love pet stores.
We're going to talk some more about that when we come back from this commercial break.
When I was injured, I couldn't play basketball for my entire sophomore year.
After years of wear and tear, I knew something was seriously wrong with Deja's knee when the swelling wouldn't go down.
Young athletes are still growing. They need specialized care only available here at Dayton Children's.
I wanted the best care for Deja because I wanted her to return to the thing that she loves to do, and that's basketball.
At Dayton Children's Sports Medicine, we're treating tomorrow's champions.
Right care.
Right now.
Right here.
Dayton Children's.
Just right for kids.
Extra Innings is the nation's premier indoor baseball and softball training center, featuring indoor batting cages, 7 multi-use tunnels, and training rooms. Extra Innings can provide professional instruction, private and group lessons, and the best year-round clinics. Along with a nationally recognized pro shop that features the latest and widest selection of equipment and apparel, our experienced staff can provide you with the right instruction and help you find the best equipment for your ability and budget. Extra Innings, where the game never ends.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Well, welcome back. I'm Keith Reynolds, host of Morning Coffee. For you listeners or viewers that are just checking in, We are here with Amy Jesse from the Humane Society and Alan Braslow, a animal activist, and we were talking about a facility in Cherry Hill. Name of the facility?
It's called PT's Puppy Love Adoption Center. It's at Sawmill Plaza on Route 70.
And it's a great facility. I stumbled upon it when I was out grabbing a bite to eat, actually, and I just said I got to have them on. You know, for you listeners and viewers out there, you know I'm a big animal person, especially dogs. So, you know, just kind of right before the commercial break, we were talking about the sales model for a lot of these puppy mills and everything. You know, and we were talking in the beginning of the show about bills being introduced to stop some of this behavior. You know, is there anything out there that's going to be introduced about, you know, if you buy one of these puppies, because it is technically illegal. If they deem it illegal to do it, then, you know, I don't know, like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, it's a gray area, because if a really good family gets a dog, that's great.
Right.
But it's really the ones that can't handle them and end up ending into a kill shelter. So that's, you know.
So the bill that's been introduced by Senator Lesniak, it's the language of the bill says that sales of puppies and kittens have to be face to face, which means that the breeder is present, the consumer is present, and the puppy is present. And so what that does is, and shelters and rescues are exempt, obviously, so it promotes adoption, of course, but it also promotes really responsible breeders who already follow that model. There's widespread agreement among the welfare community, among breeders, the AKC, really every organization, that that is the only way to responsibly buy a puppy, because you have to see for yourself. Otherwise, you will never know what sort of facility that puppy came from.
Like what type of personality they have.
Yeah, look at this. This
one's a lover.
Right. So that's the language. That's the language of the bill, which comes from federal regulations. And the thought behind it is then it's public oversight, basically. And that's the stance that we take at the Humane Society of the U.S. is that if you're not going to adopt, if you're going to seek out a responsible breeder, the only way you can know for sure that you're supporting a truly responsible breeder is to see for yourself. Right. And what we know about responsible breeders, to get to your point, is they're going to ask you as many questions as you're going to ask them. They're going to allow you, if you ever can't care for that animal, they're going to say, please bring this dog back to us. Please don't bring this dog to a shelter. I've met with a lot of responsible breeders, even within New Jersey, and that's what they say. They have a policy that they will always take an animal back. And they will not sell a puppy to an individual or a family who they don't believe is really ready to take on the responsibility. And they will coach you on how to care for a puppy, how to care for an adult dog, whereas the pet store model, the internet model, is anyone with a credit card can go home with a puppy.
You know, you were talking in the earlier part of the show, you were talking about, you know, putting them on a plane and meeting them through. I've seen that. I mean, look, I've had Rottweilers, you know, pretty much my whole life, and that's a breeder dog. You go, you know what I mean? I know, but when I was looking, I know that I've seen those things. Now, if you're working at an airport and you see that puppy come in or that dog come in, you kind of know that it wasn't tied to a passenger. It's probably that. Right. So that's what bothers me. I mean, people are looking the other way, and we really got to, you know, something has to be done.
Yeah, and we at the Humane Society, in our puppy mill campaign, we go after the issue from every feasible angle, and one of those angles is to try to put pressure on airlines and to try to go that corporate angle. And we also know that puppy mills sell at outdoor markets, like at flea markets. We recently did an investigation of that, and so we have someone on our campaign, and he helps convert. He helps convince flea markets, don't allow these puppy mills, don't allow these breeders to come into your flea markets. Only give space to shelters and rescues. Right. And so that cuts off a supply chain without having to go the route of legislation. And so that sort of corporate outreach can be really, really powerful too.
Now, you mentioned these chain stores. I mean, I don't want to name them, but, you know, I mean, because I would hope they're doing the right things, but, you know, are they doing the right things?
Which stores?
Well, like the chain stores, like, all right, PetSmart. I
So,
mean, you know, you can see puppies in there. I mean,
well, PetSmart and Petco, the two largest retailers, they do not sell puppies.
they don't? I thought I saw
They
puppies.
don't.
Oh, adoption.
Right.
They do adoption
Adoptions,
events.
Right,
Okay.
and they invite in rescues or shelters
Gotcha,
to hold
gotcha.
adoption events. They don't obtain those puppies. They
What
don't
was that?
own those puppies.
Maybe I was thinking of Monster Pets over in Philadelphia.
I mean, there are plenty of pet stores. There's, I believe, 30 right now in
Yeah.
New Jersey that still sell commercially raised puppies. And if this bill that Senator Lesniak introduced, if it's passed, all of those pet stores in New Jersey will have to convert to, similar to what Alan was describing, to only selling or adopting out rescue or shelter animals. It will prevent pet stores from selling puppy milk.
I can give you an idea on the pet stores because I work with a lot of them. One of the rescues that I support is called Don't Bully Us. It's a pit bull rescue. It's all foster-based. And Concord Pets, which is local in this area, Pet Value, which is local in this area, they are really great. They donate, they support us, they only do rescues. We schedule times to come in with the dogs. There's no way in the world they would ever bring a dog in from puppy mills or sell them. PetSmart has big adoption events, and they work with us. There are about 30 stores, and I can give you a list of them if you want, I'll send it to you. There are 30 puppy stores in the state that they sell puppy mill bred dogs. You were talking about the breed specifics, for instance. I think we were talking during the commercial. What's really nice is that the camaraderie that's come out of PT's puppy adoption centers, that when someone comes in, we know who the quality breeders are. We have lists of breed-specific rescues. So my son's a Rottweiler adopter. All three of his Rotties have come from rescue. Some of them have been adults, some of them have been puppies. Voorhees Animal Orphanage, which is local, incredible operation. When we bring, as I think I may have mentioned, when we bring up puppies that are still with the mom, once they have been weaned, the mom needs a better place to get adopted, and as you know from the adoption center, that's not going to be it. So they will many times take that mom and they will highlight it and they will get the mom adopted. When people come in, they go through an experience because there's a 5-page adoption application that they have to fill out, which includes references. It includes whether they have fences, what if they're a renter, who their landlord is, and does the landlord approve dogs. And then we actually call their references, their vet reference. If it's a renter, we'll call where they're renting to find out whether or not they do allow dogs. And people get turned down, which you hate to do, but it has to be what's good for the dog.
Absolutely.
The adoption agreement is the same one we use in our pit rescue, in that it says what the adopter is required to do. We always get asked the question on some of the dogs, like the 2 puppies who are running around here right now, one has already been spay-neutered, one of them has not.
I wonder which one hasn't.
Yeah, actually, believe it or not, he hasn't been spayed.
Really?
He hasn't been
No,
neutered
it's just
yet.
the opposite.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Bonnie has been. There are rescues who do not believe in pediatric spay-neuter. So what we do as part of the adoption agreement, it requires that the adopter spay-neuter, which some vets agree with now, it's 6 to 8 months, and then we not only follow up, but they will have to relinquish the dog if they don't have it done. We've made arrangements with local veterinarians like House Paws who will do it at a significantly reduced amount. You brought something up about dogs being dropped at shelters and whatever. There's a clause in there that says if for any reason at any time during the life of your adoption from P&Ts you no longer can or want to handle the dog, you're required by the agreement to bring it back to the adoption center. And then between ourselves and a couple of the other local rescue shelters, we will find it a home. We don't want dogs dumped anywhere. So my biggest satisfaction is the number of local residents that have stepped up and continue to step up to help the process work, because the folks couldn't do it at P&T's if not. A plug, Saturday, 12 to 3, we're going to have an adoption event. We're going to have all of the available puppies. We're going to have a list and pictures of the puppies, like these little guys, who are coming up in a couple of weeks. And we're also going to be in a position with the rescues to reach out to them and find out if you're looking for something that looks like our little Bonnie here, who's a, what is she, Nancy, a boxer? Boston Terrier and boxer mix, or what our mini German Shepherd, I like to call Nikki. We're going to help people identify what they want as well, and then we'll reach out to the rescues we're working with, because fortunately or unfortunately, everything is available.
Right. Very good, very good.
Bonnie needs a loving home, by the way. We're saying. Kiss you a lot.
My God, she is unbelievable. Look at that. Look at that tail.
She's a lover.
That's great. I mean, you know, and you know what, I love, Alan, I got to be honest with you, you know, the terminology, you said pediatric care. I mean, like, we talk about that with humans, children.
Yeah.
Well, you know, until we start, well, I know I do, but until people start to recognize these are children, these are babies, these are, you know, that's when I think everything will start to go the right way.
Well, they're part of your family. If you take them in, they're part of your family from the day you get them to the day they pass away.
Absolutely, and you know, they grow up with your kids, and I don't care who you are, when you start talking about your animals, that little smile pops up, and you know, if you don't have kids, you know, a lot of people, that's their kids.
Yeah.
So
well, Nikki's looking for a home, and he is so calm.
We've had animals on here. The AWA comes on and does shows with us every month, and they're usually like Bonnie.
Bonnie's the terrier.
That I can't believe how calm the dog is. But you know, why don't we give the information of the adoption center?
Okay, it's P&T's Puppy Love Adoption Center. You can find them on Facebook as well. They're located on Route 70 by Sawmill Plaza. Jan's Boutique is usually a great landmark. Most of the ladies know about it. This Saturday from 12 to 3, we're going to do an adoption event with them. We'll have all of the puppies from the 2 locations. In fact, that was the other part. The individual, when he converted to this model, a month and a half later, after we proved that it works, so we don't want to hear from the other puppy stores it doesn't work, because we know it does, he converted his other location. We're going to bring all of the puppies together and have some fun.
Nice, very nice. So you listeners and viewers out there, you know, I got to be honest with you, you know, we always do these stories. You know, the takeaway of this is, you know, you really need to pay attention if you're an animal lover. You know, check out some of the information we provided you today, if you're a dog lover especially. And what was that, Alan? What was the Saturday at what time?
Saturday from 12 to 3.
Okay.
And we're looking to have a lot of fun and help take applications for these folks. Ow! So we can get them adopted.
Okay.
And
if my ears are still there.
If anyone wants to learn more about puppy mills, we have a really great puppy mills research page, and you can just Google HSUS or Humane Society of the U.S. puppy mills, and there's just a ton of information.
Okay, and that was Amy Jesse from the Humane Society. I want to thank both of you for coming on today.
Thank you.
For morning coffee. We're going to get ready to get into our next guest, which is not going to be as nice as you guys. Our next guest is going to be talking about bugs. We have Stephen the Exterminator coming in, so we'll be right back after these commercial breaks.